jacket, and the man sweated so furiously that he could never put away the large white handkerchief with which he mopped his forehead and the back of his neck at regular intervals. The white collar of his shirt was soaked in perspiration. Erlendur shook his clammy hand. "Thank you," the hotel manager said, puffing like a grumpus. In his 20 years of managing the hotel, he had never encountered anything like this. "In the middle of the Christmas rush," he groaned. "I can't understand how this could happen. How could it happen?" he repeated, leaving them in no doubt as to how totally perplexed he was. "Is he up or down?" Erlendur asked. "Up or down?" the fat manager puffed. "Do you mean whether he's gone to heaven?" "Yes," Erlendur said. "That's exactly what we need to know." "Shall we take the lift upstairs?" Sigurður Óli asked. "No," the manager said, casting an irritated look at Erlendur. "He's down here in the basement. He's got a little room there. We didn't want to chuck him out, and then you get this for your troubles." "Why would you have wanted to chuck him out?" Erlendur asked. The hotel manager looked at him but did not reply. They walked slowly down the stairs beside the lift. The manager went first. Going down the stairs was a strain for him, and Erlendur wondered how he would get back up. Apart from Erlendur, they had agreed to show a certain amount of consideration, to try to approach the hotel as discreetly as possible. 3 police cars were parked at the back with an ambulance. Police officers and paramedics had gone in through the back door. The district medical officer was on his way. He would certify the death and call out a van to transport the body. They walked down a long corridor with the panting manager leading the way. Plainclothes policemen greeted them. The corridor grew darker the further they walked because the light bulbs on the ceiling had blown and no one had bothered to change them. Eventually, in the darkness, they reached the door, which opened onto a little room. It was more like a storage space than a dwelling, but there was a narrow bed inside, a small desk, and a tattered mat on the dirty, tiled floor. There was a little window up near the ceiling. The man was sitting on the bed, leaning against the wall. He was wearing a bright red Santa suit, and still had the Santa cap on his head, but it had slipped down over his eyes. A large artificial Santa beard hid his face. He had undone the thick belt around his waist and unbuttoned his jacket. Beneath it, he was wearing only a white vest. There was a fatal wound to his heart. Although there were other wounds on the body, the stabbing through the heart had finished him off. His hands had slash marks on them, as if he had tried to fight off the assailant. His trousers were down round his ankles. A condom hung from his penis. "Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer," Sigurður Óli warbled, looking down at the body. Erlendur hushed him. In the room was a small wardrobe when the door was open. It contained folded trousers and sweaters, ironed shirts, underwear, and socks. A uniform hung on a coat hanger, navy blue with golden epaulets and shiny brass buttons. A pair of smartly polished black leather shoes stood beside the cupboard. Newspapers and magazines were strewn over the floor. Beside the bed was a small table and lamp. On the table was a single book, A History of the Vienna Boys' Choir. "Did he live here, this man?" Erlendur asked as he surveyed the scene. He and Erlendur had entered the room. Sigurður Óli and the hotel manager were standing outside. It was too small for them all inside. "We let him stay here," the manager said awkwardly, mopping the sweat from his brow. "He's been working for us for donkey years, since before my time, as a doorman." "Was the door open when he was found?" Sigurður Óli asked, trying to be formal as if to compensate for his little ditty. "I asked her to wait for you," the manager said. "The girl who found him, she's in the staff coffee room. Gave her quite a shock, poor thing, as you can imagine." The manager avoided looking into the room. Erlendur walked up to the body and peered at the wound to the heart. He had no idea what kind of blade had killed the man. He looked up. Above the bed was an old, faded poster for a Shirley Temple film, sellotaped at the corners. Erlendur didn't know the film. It was called The Little Princess. The poster was the only decoration in the room.